Hello, Carl. Connie.
Can you see me? Yeah, you can.
We can see you, and Connie is about to introduce you.
Yes.
Here we are in San Cristobal de las Casas in Chiapas, down in southern Mexico, in this very beautiful, I wish we could show it to you, cultural center. And if you haven't been here before, we need to get you here.
It's called Bolom, House of the Jaguar.
House of the Jaguar in the heart of Maya country.
And a very good friend of the indigenous people here. It's the people here have worked for decades to save the indigenous peoples and their cultures and continue to do so. So it's a very special place. And so I'll introduce you, Carl, and I think it would be good for you to just present what you have to say in this next half hour. Yeah, you're going to present something on your...
I would sort of present the view of the Mayan calendar and what that means for the future and a little bit like that.
Yes, and then we'll have a little discussion. I know you only have about a half an hour, so we'll have a little discussion about that, and then we'll go into the Hopi prophecy after that. So I'll just read this little introduction that Carl Johan Calleman is a scientist and philosopher who has devoted much of his life to make the ancient Mayan calendar system understandable and meaningful for modern people. He has supported Mayan elders in getting their message out to the world and has published 6 books in 13 languages and has lectured around the world for this. So Carl is a very important player in this unfolding of the consciousness of humanity, because he has a whole different take on the Mayan calendar.
I can't hear you.
Okay.
That's all right, Carl. The audience can hear, and if you can't... Okay, and we'll let you know when you're on.
Okay.
So Carl has a completely different perspective on the Mayan calendar from Jose Arguelles, who, that whole thing of the end of the world, it became the end of the world when it was really just the end of the cycle of the Mayan calendar. And Carl has a very interesting perspective as a physicist and a scientist on the waves of energy that have been made available to humanity for our shift in consciousness. And he has some very exciting news for those of us who have never heard this perspective, because it has to do with the energy available to humanity now that's never been here before, for our shift in consciousness, for our movement into unity consciousness. So I'll let Carl speak for himself at this point, and we'll go into the Hopi prophecy after Carl. Carl only has a half an hour to be with us, so we have to grab him while we've got him, and so that's why we're starting before everybody arrives. But anyway, let's carry on.
All right. So, Carl, welcome.
Thank you so much, Andrew and Connie. Thank you for inviting me to this event that I think honors the indigenous peoples of our planet in a great way.
Yes. So, would you like to share your perspective?
Yes, sure. So I'm not going to make breaks for translation?
Apparently not at this point.
Okay. So among the indigenous peoples, or I should say, among the ancient peoples of our planet, the Maya is in a very special place. It's really the people of time, and they developed a way of looking at time which is encoded in their calendar system like no other people really did on our planet. Especially their timekeeping system, it wasn't just based on measuring times. It's not quantitative times that they excelled in. Instead, they were able to pinpoint what you might call qualitative time. How waves from the center of the universe came to our planet and continues to come to our planet. that are alternating the energies in which we are living, and which to a large extent determines how we understand the world and what kind of a world that we are creating outside of ourselves. So it's really a unique ancient people that have something to contribute. But it's taken quite some time for the modern world to retrieve this particular knowledge, which has been, you might say, hidden in ancient glyphs and ancient stelae and in other kinds of information that is found at the various sacred sites of the Maya. And what is typical of Mayan pyramids, for instance, which is part of this information that they have given us now to us living in the future, is that the pyramids, or at least the most important pyramids that they built, like the Temple of Inscriptions in Palenque, like the Temple of Kukulkan in Chichen Itza, and the Temple of the Great Jaguar in Tikal. They're built in 9 levels. And these 9 levels represented, you might say, 9 levels of evolution, 9 levels of consciousness, or 9 levels of evolution of consciousness. And so these pyramids are not, they are not dead, so to speak. They're still conveying their message. And the message is that the history of the universe is like a climb through 9 levels. And what has happened quite recently is that we have now come to a point where the highest of these levels have been reached. That's the 9th level. In other words, we are at the top of the pyramid. And but this is a fairly new phenomenon. Mayan timescales are quite long. There are some waves that have periods of about 2 billion years, and it's this new wave that was the 9th wave that was activated in the year 2011. It's only then been active for 7 years, and it's still not. It's still only partially making itself known to us through how we relate to the world and so forth. But I think one thing that most everyone can relate to and recognize in this wave is its very high frequency. In other words, today's world, we have an experience of a tremendous speed of time. And you might say then that this system of 9 waves, the system of 9 calendrical waves that the Maya would describe, they represent an acceleration of time. Now at the bottom level of the pyramid, which are the broadest, that's the wave when the frequencies are the lowest. And when you climb one of these pyramids, you're actually enacting a climb to higher and higher frequencies of change. And that's really what has happened. Now, these different waves have different functions, and they affect us in different kinds of ways. The lowest waves are simply about the evolution of our species, of all species, and eventually leading up to the human species. Then there's one wave, the 5th level of the pyramid, where you might say spirituality enters human life. Some kind of a default shamanic state was activated in people about 100,000 years ago. And then on top of that came a wave activated 3,200 years ago, essentially, which is probably the most well-known, which is the one that the ancient Maya always used to date their events in. That's the long calendar. And that's the one that has brought nations into existence and the civilizations, ups and downs. And these ups and downs, they basically follow the ups and downs of this particular wave that have created that. So I would say that even if most people are oblivious to it, all evolution goes back to these waves that the Maya calendar describes. There are a couple of sites, like in Koba and in Jaskilan, where you have these 9 levels, the 9 waves inscripted in ancient glyphs. And that 5,000 years ago, it created a rational mind. But it also created a lot of duality, a lot of separation between men and women, separation between rulers and slaves, and so forth. And even though you might say this wave, the long count wave, has been critical in developing human civilization, because without it, we wouldn't be where we are now. It also had a very significant backside in creating these kind of dualities, so creating separation between different groups of people, between different nations, and so forth, resulting in oppression, violence, and warfare. So many times when we look at these waves, it's not necessarily that we like all the aspects of the phenomena that the waves are bringing to humanity, but overall, nonetheless, they are all part of an evolutionary scheme. And then, as I said, there are 9 waves, and so on top of this 6th wave that I just mentioned, the long count wave, Sumer and other places, and then through a series of steps determined by this wave, steps called Baktuls. Through that, all of what we call human history was developed. And then comes the 7th wave, has 20 times higher frequency, industrial revolution, democracy, and I might say materialism. It was a time when people largely denied the spiritual aspects of life. And then 8th wave, only 1999, and bringing these 3 things into existence. You might say power to women, power to the East, power to the digital revolution. These are some of the things that have come with this 8th wave. And so, in this particular way of understanding, we humans may not be as much in control of what is happening as we often like to think. There are factors determining how our minds evolve that is out of our own control, and for most people, completely out of what they know about. And I would say that we really have to trust, in a sense, that this, you might say, this plan, it appears as a plan. I'm not saying that it is a plan, but it appears as a plan of sequential activation of different waves, that this ultimately is designed in such a way that it generates a positive world. And I believe that that's eventually what is going to happen with the 9th wave. So the 9th wave was activated only in March of 2011. And you may remember one of the things that happened in the Earth at that particular time, namely the big 2 days after the actual activation, there was this huge earthquake in Japan, one of the biggest known, 9. And what it tells us is that whenever these waves are activated, there are things happening on the level of the interior of the Earth, because the interior of the Earth was now to relay and transmit to us a new higher frequency wave. And remarkably, we don't really see these energy changes, these consciousness changes that is happening. We see the effects of them if we are familiar with the Mayan calendar and when it's at different time periods start, change, and so forth. And then we are also aware of certain things like the speed up of time and a few things like that. But with the correct interpretation of the Mayan calendar system, it's possible to make sense of all these particular changes. And now, what's different with this 9th wave, the highest of these waves, is that it brings it doesn't favor the right brain half, it doesn't favor the left brain half either. It's actually one that does not, it creates a mind that doesn't create separation. It creates a mind that tends to look at unity as reality, as unified. And it's something that helps people everywhere to see the connections between all the things. And this wave, it has a wavelength of only 36 common days. And so it's something that, it is possible to track, and everybody can go to there's a particular website, and I think I have on my website also a link, xzone.com.au, and where you can see exactly where we are in this particular wave. But right now we are in a downturn, or I should say we're going back, and I think in about 5 days we will shifting over into a period of light, a period of peak in this particular wave. And I certainly recommend that people learn to follow this wave, for them to see how it affects their own life. Because that is part of becoming part of this wave that over time will generate a mind of unity. And a mind of unity is really then what humanity needs at this time. One that always would bring us to look at the connections, especially to other people, and see how we are all fundamentally related, and to see that duality should not be the dominating principle for our relationships. So this wave then, it was activated only in 2011, and it's still running and will continue, like all these waves now, they will continue to run indefinitely. And I should mention here also that from the ancient Maya, there's really just one inscription that talks about the shift that humanity has just gone through. That's what most people would talk about as the 2012 phenomenon. I would say it would be more correct to say 2011, but that's a little bit beside the point. You know what I mean when I talk about that. And that information, that is from a stele in Mexico, outside of Palenque. It's called Tortuguero. It's now been largely demolished, but nonetheless, what was saved was this says that what would happen then in 2012 is that what they called Bolom Yukte Ku, which means the 9-story God, the 9-step God. In other words, the pyramid in 9 steps that they would usually refer to as some kind of a deity. They looked upon this plan of the universe as a living entity. Bolom Yokte Hu was its name. And that entity would then, at that point in time, appear in its full regalia. That's the only inscription that exists from ancient times about this shift that we have recently passed through. And whatever else you hear is not from ancient Maya. And yet, you know, I do want to point out how remarkable it is that the ancient Maya wrote an inscription in 600 AD about what would happen in our own time. What kind of a foresight does that imply? You know, we cannot even think about writing an inscription about what will happen in the year 3600 or AD or something like that. But they did. And they did communicate then the importance of this fact that for the first time all 9 waves would be activated. And all 9 waves then is Bolom Yokte Ku, and who then would appear in his full regalia, in its totality, with the activation of all waves of the creation system. And now these waves are running in parallel, and it would go too far for me to make any kind of detailed analysis of this. But what I want to convey primarily is that the fact that the 9th wave has been activated and won't disappear and will be accessible, and is accessible and will be accessible in the future, tells us that that's the top level. That's where the ancient Mayan kings wanted to go when they climbed the pyramids. That's where we have come now. And I would say that the more that we are able to manifest the purpose of this particular wave, the one of bringing unity consciousness, of looking at reality as non-separate, the more we're able to do that, the more are we able to manifest exactly the world that the ancient Maya foresaw for us. And so that doesn't mean that the other ways will go out of existence, and they will play different kinds of roles also in the future. For instance, you know, we've gone into a time of much nationalism, especially in the western part of the world, in the UK and the United States. But what I'm saying is that this is a temporary thing. It's kind of expected from the shift that happened in the 7th wave. I don't want to go into more detail about it, but there will come back a shift also in that way, that is, in about 10 years will bring back the whole ideal of global collaboration and so forth. And I think, you know, in this there is also the whole notion, I think, that we should honor the indigenous peoples of the world, who, many of whom have sort of maintained a sort of unity consciousness, a mind that doesn't separate, that connects everything with a divine source. And unpredictable way, I would say that this overall mentality that characterized all shamanic peoples will, with a nice way, bring a return to unity in the future of the world. Thank you.
Okay, for
Can
the people, there are
everybody
people
hear
here who need a Spanish translation.
I think there are in the back.
Yes.
In the back, there are definitely.
So we'll give a little synopsis.
Vamos a hacer un resumen y traducirlo al español después. Bueno,
¿Sí?
¿qué?
¿Está bien? ¿Tú entiendes qué nos dice?
Yeah, I did.
Okay, but so I will synopsize it a bit. What he said was, okay, I'll say it a little more. What he said was that there are different waves of energy that have become available to humanity over the millennia.
Lo que dijo él es que hay algunas olas de desarrollo de energía que aparecen o que vuelven como disponibles para la humanidad con el tiempo.
And that the Maya understood these waves and predicted these waves. And there's actually a stele, is it a stele? That they created when what
600 AD.
600 AD that spoke about this ninth wave now that's available to humanity.
Los mayas predijeron todo eso en el año 600 antes del nacimiento de Cristo. Hicieron una estela, una estela, y escribieron todo y predijeron todo, sobre todo lo de la novena ola que estamos viviendo al momento.
And there's only this one, is it a stele? This one stele that referred to this ninth wave, this time now.
Hay una estela que habla sobre todo de esa novena, como dije, que estamos viviendo al momento.
So, this ninth wave, these different waves, humans respond to these different waves in different ways, and they affect our consciousness in different ways, the different waves. And okay.
Esas olas nos afectan, bueno, a todos los humanos de diferentes maneras y nosotros reaccionamos porque la energía pues pasa y nos influencia.
And this ninth wave brings balance to the left and right hemisphere of our brains. In the past, we've been balanced to our right brain, to our left brain.
In the recent
No.
past, and before that was right. So it's always been one or the other. Now it's balanced.
Right. But the right brain is the logical brain.
Left brain is left.
Left brain. Okay, I'm confused. Okay, so it's been our left brain that's been emphasized in the past. And now we're going into a balanced brain, and it's. Do you want to say that?
Sure. En el pasado había como dice, utilizábamos más cerebro, bueno, la mitad del cerebro izquierda que la mitad que es más lógica. Y bueno, con el tiempo tuvimos un cambio para el derecho y ahora tenemos una ola que nos hace un balance entre los dos.
And what he said is that the character, what is going to come forth from that is more participation and energy to the women, to the feminine. And, okay.
Con eso viene un poco más de apoyo al femenino, a las mujeres y lo que hablamos de cualidades femeninas.
And he also said that it's going to be, because the East represents more of the right brain, and the West represents more of the left brain, that the East is going to have more of an influence in the future.
La Tierra se separa de la misma manera que el cerebro. El este representa el cerebro derecho, el oeste el cerebro izquierda. Y al momento estamos viendo un cambio en el planeta también, a los países del este, como en Asia.
And so what he's, and I'll let you fill in anything I've left out or that you've perceived from this, but what he's saying is that unity consciousness, us seeing each other as one, which is what our show is about. We are family, we are one, a dream for humanity.
Es lo que estamos hablando en este show también. Estamos hablando cuando el título es Somos Uno, Somos Familia.
A dream for humanity.
Un sueño para la humanidad. Y toda la idea de unicidad, de todos ser juntos.
And so it's, and for me in my reality, it's a given that we're going to do this, that this is going to happen. And so Carl's work really gives us some of the physics, some of the prophecy, some of the ancient knowledge, that in fact this is a reality that is happening. It's not something, well, it is something we have to do, but we have to, but really, to me, it's happening. It's a given. This energy is shifting our reality, shifting the energies that we're responding to. So our hearts are opening, circumstances are encouraging us to love one another, to see this oneness and feel this oneness.
Es algo que, bueno, como dice Connie, que va a ocurrir, sea lo que sea, va a ocurrir. Lo que está explicando Carl Calleman y lo que están explicando Connie y yo es que, bueno, explican cómo va a ocurrir y cómo la energía nos influencia para que eso ocurra en la humanidad. Pero es algo que tenemos que hacer, vamos a aprender a abrir el corazón y a volver como juntos, como una familia. Y eso con el tiempo va a ocurrir de sí mismo.
And so it's something that we have to be proactive with. It's free will, allows us to choose whether we will align with this energy and our own hearts and our own intuition or not.
Tenemos la decisión de aceptar o no esa energía. Podemos abrir el corazón y aceptarlo y dejarlo tener una influencia en nuestra vida, o podemos decir que no, pero eso va a ocurrir que aceptamos o no.
Sí. Okay. So, Andrew, do you have anything more to add from what Carl had to say?
I would just like to say, for those of you who might have come in a little late, that we have just been on a Skype call with Dr. Carl Calleman, who is a Swedish scientist. He is one of the leading authorities on the Mayan calendar, on the studies of the ancient Mayan inscriptions that are still in the process of being interpreted and understood.
Para la gente que llegaron un poco tarde, estábamos hablando con el doctor Calleman, y él es una persona quien conoce muy bien el calendario maya y pues todo lo que está ocurriendo en el mundo con eso. Es de Swedish. You know the name of the country, Sweden.
Sweden.
No Suiza. Suecia, gracias. Es de Suecia y entienden bien también la ciencia de lo que entra con este tipo de energía.
And he is the author of many books and those books have been translated into many languages, and I wanted to ask him, and we didn't have time, is it available in Spanish? Or is his work available in Spanish?
Yeah.
Ya escribió muchos libros y la cosa que hemos olvidado de pedirle es si los libros están traducidos en español. Ya son traducidos en muchos idiomas, pero se nos olvidó.
13 languages. I'm
13.
sure Spanish is one of them.
13, entonces seguro, casi seguro que español es una de ellas.
And there is a website where we can track where we are in this wave. Each day the energy shifts, and we can track where we are, and we can give you that website. So, do you have more to say?
I think that's enough.
Okay.
Hay una página web que nos indica dónde estamos en esa ola al momento para saber qué tipo de energía tenemos al momento. Did you say something else?
No, that's okay. Does anyone have any questions? We're going to go into the Hopi prophecy next, and we'll present on that, and we will bring in some of the Hopi and to let you know how the Hopi prophecy complements what Carl has said.
Ahora vamos a hablar de la profecía Hopi y cómo eso es parecido a lo que ha dicho Carl Calleman. Y vamos a describirlo.
Does anyone have any questions, or should we move into the Hopi?
¿Hay preguntas sobre el tema de Calleman?
This unity of conscious is supposed to be only between humans, or every being in the nature and animals?
Well, that's a good question.
It's a wonderful question.
And he spoke of the ancient people, of the indigenous people, not just ancient, because they exist now. And he spoke of their world. And I've spent a lot of time with visionary native people, and they are connected to all that is.
La pregunta era si es solamente para la humanidad o si incluye todos los seres vivos del planeta. Y la respuesta es, pues, Connie y yo han hablado mucho con los pueblos antiguos, con gente de esos pueblos que todavía viven hoy, y ellos dicen que eso incluye todos los seres vivos.
The rocks, the trees, the things we think are not alive, they have two-way conversations with them. In their reality, everything is alive, everything is conscious, everything has a purpose, everything has a role, everything is interconnected.
Eso incluye no solamente los seres vivos, pero también todo lo que es material, también los árboles, las rocas, todo tiene su nivel de conversación, su nivel de vida, porque tiene energía.
And spirit.
Y un espíritu, un alma.
And finally, on that wonderful question, I would use two terms that Dr. Calleman used. Unity consciousness. I'm seeing anyway. I'm 74 years old, and I've been studying spiritual matters since I was about 14. So in all of that time, I'm now, for the first time in the last maybe 10 years, seeing this idea of unity consciousness. In India, there's this organization called Oneness University. Just unity and oneness is emerging. It's coming out now in this time.
Es algo que Andrew está explorando desde hace mucho tiempo, todo lo que habla de espiritualidad, pero por la primera vez de su vida, ahora tiene 74 años, escucha las palabras unidad de conciencia. Hay este tema también en otras partes, como en India, hablan de unidad también, pero es algo que está empezando a salir al momento.
And from the Western world, see, it's always in balance. It's always a balance. We have quantum science coming essentially out of the Western world with the clear understanding that everything is connected to everything else. We are completely one. It is a fact that no matter how far away in the furthest galaxy, we are completely connected now in real time. This is an amazing idea.
Y del lado izquierdo del planeta, también tenemos las ciencias cuánticas que explican la misma idea, que todos somos unidos de una manera u otra. Y es algo que está empezando a salir también y va hasta a hablar de otras galaxias también. Estamos unidos con ellos.
And these elders that I've known, they travel interdimensionally. And they can walk around inside an eyeball, and they can travel to other dimensions instantaneously. I mean, we don't have a clue what can be. And what this energy is making available is our minds opening, a higher frequency. He spoke of frequency, going into a higher frequency where the laws are different.
Los ancianos de estos pueblos, los sabios, hablan de cómo ellos pueden viajar entre las dimensiones, pueden ir hasta caminar adentro de un ojo, is what you said. Yeah, okay. Adentro de un ojo, o de viajar en otra dimensión. Es algo, pues, y lo hacen así, muy rápido, instantáneo. Y es algo que la mayoría no entienden, pero ellos saben cómo hacerlo.
So from them we get a sense of what is possible. And technology is actually taking us to that place where we're talking cell to cell. The indigenous peoples have spoken telepathically forever. Now where the whole globe is connected through the internet to speak cell to cell. We're moving in a direction that the technology is taking us.
Y la tecnología mueve con nosotros también. Miren cómo ahora tenemos el internet que nos conecta a todos juntos. Y eso, bueno, habla de ir de una célula a la otra. En nuestro cuerpo, pues la misma idea en el internet, es de un lugar al otro, de una célula a la otra. Y eso es una frecuencia, y movemos de una frecuencia a la otra.
So we actually have written a book and done a film that talks about all this and gives people tools for understanding the nature of the universe so we can move into a higher frequency through trust in knowing that these energies are available and that we are going someplace amazing.
Hemos escrito libros y hemos hecho una película también que habla de eso y que da herramientas para saber cómo mover y avanzar en estas frecuencias para que todos juntos podamos ir en esta dirección.
Sí.
And
Okay.
the book that we wrote is now being translated into Spanish, so it will become available. It's still getting ready to be printed, but it's an audio libro already, okay? And the film, this is a scene from a film we made. This will introduce the Hopi. Does anybody not know about the Hopi Indians in Arizona, in America?
You spoke first about the movie. The book is in audio, right?
I mentioned, yeah.
El libro es en español al momento, ya está traducido, pero solamente al audio al momento, ¿sí? Okay.
It's no, the film.
¿Y la película?
Que hay alguien que no conozca los indios Hopi de Arizona, algo que quiera saber, algo.
Yeah.
Anyway, is indigenous cosmology and quantum science. It's a synthesis that shows us the wisdom from here and the knowledge from here and how we can actually trust enough to change our behavior and our choices.
La sabiduría aborígena y las ciencias cuánticas pues funcionan juntos para ayudarnos a entender bien el mundo.
So,
Everybody has heard of the Hopi?
So here we go for Hopi.
¿Los Hopis? ¿Todos conocen los Hopis?
Has anyone ever heard of the Hopi?
Los indios Hopis in...
Hay algunas personas que no.
Sí.
Algunos.
Okay, so we'll find out.
So,
Vamos a aprender.
Related to the Maya. There's a relationship between the Hopi and the Maya, and this 5-minute little piece of our film will bring us into meeting the Hopi.
I came into association with the Hopi in 1990. And a man there kept telling me, we're descended from the Maya.
Es que, bueno, hay una conexión entre los Hopi y los mayas y dicen que los Hopis, bueno, dicen que somos descendientes, sí, de los descendientes de los mayas. Gracias.
And then I sort of got divine orders to check in with the Maya. I had 3 little children, and I was basically sent to Mexico and to this place, to Bolom, by a very interesting set of circumstances, and into the jungle with Chanquin Viejo.
Yo estaba con 3 pequeños niños y recibí un mensaje divino para decirme de ir en México y encontrar a los mayas. Y vine aquí, en Ávalo. Y después...
Chanquin Viejo.
Chanquin Viejo.
Chanquin Viejo. Y después hasta Chanquin Viejo.
And las Lacandones in Naha, in la Selva Lacandon.
Now, shall we ask whether people would like to move forward, just to be a little more intimate? Are people in the back able to hear okay?
Todos pueden escuchar bien atrás porque vamos a poner la película. Tal vez quieran acercarse un poco. Sí, pueden acercarse un poco. Mejor así.
Es 5 minutos sobre it's 5 minutes about the Hopi prophecy, and then we're going to read a little bit, so you get some direct information.
Vamos a escuchar 5 minutos de la película y después vamos a leer un texto con información.
Mucho mejor. Sí. A movie. Popcorn.
Palomitas.
So this is from our film. It's a clip from our film at Prophecy Rock in Hopi Land, which is in Arizona.
That is not in Arizona. That is in Africa. But it'll become clear.
La parte de que van a hablar las 5 minutos de la película es en Arizona. Con el pueblo Hopi, pero bueno, esta imagen no es de Arizona, eso es de África.
So this is, what you're going to see is Prophecy Rock, where the Hopi prophecy was drawn on a rock, and there'll be some explanation of it. And there's subtitles created by YouTube, so I have no idea.
We'll see.
So anybody, you can correct the subtitles. Anybody who wants to correct the subtitle can do it.
Okay, esta parte habla de la piedra de la profecía Hopi. Y es una imagen y van a explicar sobre esto, pero para decirles, los subtítulos son de YouTube. Lo siento si no son correctos, pero si alguien nota un error, sí pueden corregir, por favor.
Bueno.
Okay.
Throughout all of history, humanity has wondered about the future. Since the beginning of time, we have consulted the oracles, the prophets, the astrologers, the witch doctors, the shamans, and the soothsayers. Here in the 21st century, is there anyone we can turn to for guidance? The Hopi Indians in the southwestern United States are thought to be the oldest inhabitants of North America. The Hopi have an ancient prophecy that sheds light on the choices that lie ahead of us.
This rock drawing shows part of the Hopi prophecy. There are two paths. The first, with high technology, but separate from natural and spiritual law, leads to these jagged lines representing chaos. The lower path is one that remains in harmony with natural law. Here we see a line that represents a choice, like a bridge joining the paths. If we return to spiritual harmony and live from our hearts, we can experience a paradise in this world. If we continue only on the upper path, we will come to destruction.
Well, here we are in front of Prophecy Rock in Hopi land, an ancient carving which shows the two potential paths of humanity, one which leads to destruction and one of which leads to peace and freedom in the future. Connie, what would you like to say?
Well, this prophecy is a very interesting one because it really explains our free will. Here we have the path of peace. They call it the Hopi way, but it's the path that's aligned with universal law. And here is the path that's separate from universal law that leads to destruction. The path of peace goes on around the rock, all the way around the rock. And here is a bridge where people can go from one path to the other. And I believe this is free will, that we have the free will to walk out of alignment with universal law, or we have the free will to walk this path of peace. And I think as soon as humanity comes to understand that it's really our choice that has led to the world that we live in, that we will in fact choose another way and stop blaming others for our condition.
So this connecting link here, if you were up here and you were on the path to destruction, there's the option to make the change.
Yeah.
And to transition into the Hopi way or the path of peace. And also if you're on this path, you could fall from the path and go this way.
Right.
And this is free will.
You're right.
This is the essence of the free will of humanity.
Exactly. So I think it's very significant and very important, and once humanity truly understands that and once they get the information about universal law, what universal law looks like, what the true nature of the universe is, which has to do with a conscious, loving, interconnected universe where humanity is so loved by all of creation that we are given everything we ask for, that it is in fact a loving universe that's responding to our requests, that creates our reality.
So the rock basically contains a message for humanity. And one of the elders of the Hopi took this message to the United Nations and made a presentation. And this is what we're going to be explaining a little bit about. This message that was taken to the United Nations.
Well,
Esa piedra con la profecía Hopi es algo que, bueno, conocen desde ya mucho tiempo. Uno de los ancianos Hopi ha decidido ir a las Naciones Unidas y hacer una presentación para explicar esta profecía. Y es lo que vamos a explicar ahora.
okay. This message to the United Nations was on the film, but we will read it again. You want to read it? This is actually a transcript of a message from the Hopi elder to the United Nations.
Do you
Eso es una transcripción del mensaje del anciano a las Naciones Unidas.
So do you remember the carving on the rock? It showed two different paths, and the upper path was the path that was separate from natural law, and the lower path was the path that went on forever. And the upper path, if you saw it, just at the end, it just went and fell apart.
¿Se recuerdan cómo hay el dibujo dos caminos? Y hay uno que va alrededor de la Tierra completamente, pero el otro es mucho más corto. Han visto que hay como en una parte al final que es como difícil caminar sobre eso y se destruye.
Uno por arriba, ¿no? Y el otro por abajo. ¿Es eso?
Sí, uno por arriba y otro por abajo.
Sí.
Sí.
Por arriba y abajo.
So there are two paths. The first with high technology but separate from natural and spiritual law leads to these jagged lines representing chaos.
Ese camino de arriba es el de la tecnología y está separado de la ley de la naturaleza y por eso va hasta la destrucción.
The lower path is one that remains in harmony with natural law.
El de abajo sigue siendo la ley de la naturaleza.
Connecting the two lines is a line that represents a choice, like a bridge joining the paths.
Entre estos dos caminos hay una línea que es como un puente para darnos la opción de escoger entre los dos.
If we return to spiritual harmony and live from our hearts, we can experience a paradise in this world.
Si escogemos el camino de la naturaleza, podemos vivir muy largo tiempo y with our hearts. With that one.
From our-
Experience a paradise in
No,
this
from
world.
our hearts.
Oh, and live from our hearts.
Live from our
Live from our hearts. Vivir desde el corazón
Sí.
y vivir como si estamos en un paraíso.
If we continue only on the upper path, we will come to destruction.
Si seguimos el camino de arriba, vamos a destruirnos.
So,
Bueno.
now, what we'd like to do, there's been an update to the Hopi prophecy. There's been a man, his name's John Kimmy, who lived with the Maya, the Hopi, with grandfather David in Hopi, and was taught and trained in the Hopi prophecy.
Hay un hombre quien ha actualizado esa profecía, fue a vivir, ¿cómo se llama?
John Kimmy.
John Kimmy, fue a vivir con el abuelo
David.
David y ha aprendido más sobre esa profecía y ha añadido a la profecía.
So he wrote this in 2010,
Y lo escribió en 2010.
and he passed away in 2011, unfortunately.
Y afortunadamente,
This will give you a sense of what's going on today that the prophecy saw back then. So it's just very interesting that the indigenous people have this vision, this ability to see the future.
afortunadamente, pues ya murió. Bueno, este hombre escribió eso en 2010, pero murió en 2011. Pero nos da la oportunidad de ver verdaderamente lo que dicen los mayas y pues nos da una mejor idea de lo que predijeron para nuestro futuro.
See, she's good, huh?
Trying.
And she's from Canada.
Trying.
Okay.
And this is Annie, by the way,
This is
if you
Annie.
haven't met Annie.
You're welcome.
Okay. So shall I read part and you
Sure,
read
we
part?
can bounce back and forth however you like to.
Okay.
speak.
Is this a good idea?
¿Buena idea?
Okay.
¿Aceptan?
And you can read it too if you want.
Okay.
In
Sí, sí.
Espanol?
See, I have it.
Oh, right.
I had it translated.
Oh, good. So you can
Okay.
just read the paragraphs, we'll alternate.
Yes.
According to the Hopi prophecy, we are in the latter days of the time of purification. We are in the process of resolution of polarities we have caused through our limited comprehension of universal principles.
Según la profecía Hopi, nos encontramos en los últimos días, el tiempo de la purificación. Estamos inmersos en el proceso de resolución de polaridades que hemos provocado debido a nuestra limitada comprensión de los principios universales.
So can you hear her okay? Because you might hold it up and speak up a little more.
Sounds good.
The ancient prophecy of the Hopis provides us with a number of specific future events and their corresponding instructions. The Hopis speak about instructions, that the divine energies have given us instructions. They call it original instructions of what they carry, and now they're referring to the instructions that come to us as things unfold. But that's not, I said that. Okay.
La antigua profecía de los Hopi nos provee una serie de acontecimientos futuros específicos y significativos junto con sus respectivas instrucciones. Hay que decir que esas instrucciones son de seres divinos, son como una guía y pues no...
Oh, they have instructions. The divine gives us instructions. Original. They have original instructions.
Son originales de los divinos.
Okay.
Okay, I'll continue. The time of purification began with the release of the first nuclear explosions in 1945. The event known in the prophecy as the Third Great Shaking is our present point with which our attention must be focused. There are two eventualities to be considered.
El tiempo de purificación comenzó con las primeras explosiones nucleares en 1945. El acontecimiento que se conoce en la profecía como el tercer temblor en el punto de referencia actual a través del cual debemos enfocar nuestra atención. Hay dos eventualidades que deben tomarse en consideración.
The first phase, it states, could be the best case scenario and could conclude this cycle known as the Fourth World in harmony with the intention of Great Spirit, otherwise known as the universe. It is said that at this time the polarities will be so extreme that it will appear that all things seem to be opposite to the true path of life.
Se indica que la primera fase podría ser el mejor escenario que concluiría este ciclo, conocido como el Cuarto Mundo, en armonía con la intención del Gran Espíritu o el universo. Se dice que en este tiempo las polaridades van a ser tan extremas que para cerrar, que todo se encuentra opuesto al verdadero camino de la vida.
So, the Hopi say that we're in the fourth world, see, which could correspond to Calleman's, his sixth energy or his fifth energy, waves, the different waves. And this is the fourth world that they say is ending, and we're going into the fifth world, a new world.
Los Hopis dicen que ahora estamos en el cuarto mundo y estamos empezando a entrar en el quinto. Y eso es parecido un poco a lo que Carl Calleman dijo, como tenemos olas y diferentes energías. Pues lo mismo con los Hopis, dicen que entramos en un nuevo mundo.
Which echoes Carl Calleman. I was told that good would be called bad, right would be considered wrong, that wealth would become poverty, and that men and women would tend to choose to living apart. We are obviously in that predicament now. The instructions accompanying this condition are very clear. Listen up. We are to identify the polarities in our personal lives and to begin mitigation of our issues, those both contrived and inherited, with deep intention, practice, and patience. So many people ask, what can I do in this transition? Well, what we can do is our own work, our personal work, because we affect the collective, the quantum unity consciousness. We affect it with every thought we have, every action we take. And so it's very interesting that he's making this point.
Se me informó que a lo bueno se lo llamará malo. Lo correcto se considerará errado, que la riqueza se convertirá en pobreza y los hombres y mujeres tenderán a querer vivir separados. Obviamente ya nos encontramos en medio de tales condiciones. Las instrucciones que acompañan esta condición son muy claras. Y aquí están. Tenemos que identificar las polaridades en nuestras vidas personales y comenzar a mitigar nuestros problemas, tanto los creados por nosotros como los que hemos heredado, valiéndonos de profunda intención, práctica y paciencia. Entonces nos está diciendo que nosotros tenemos que empezar adentro, que tenemos que hacer este trabajo nuestro mismo y después vamos a tener una influencia sobre los demás. Así funciona.
Bueno. On the universal scale, the polarities will become obvious as the physical world responds to this imbalance with severe disturbance of the natural cycles that have always maintained a solid state system within nature. What we have recently termed earth changes will involve all four elements. Today we are suffering massive fires, especially in drought areas. The winds will intensify and become unpredictable. Floods will occur in areas where they are not typical.
A escala universal, las polaridades se tornarán obvias a medida que el mundo físico responde a este desbalance con severas perturbaciones de los ciclos naturales que siempre han mantenido un sistema de integración en la naturaleza. Lo que recientemente hemos comenzado a llamar cambios en la Tierra involucrarán los 4 elementos. Hoy estamos experimentando incendios masivos, especialmente en áreas de sequía. Los vientos se intensificarán y se tornarán impredecibles. Ocurrirán inundaciones en áreas donde no son comunes.
Earthquakes will become more frequent and increase in intensity, and the very polarity of the geomagnetic field and the resonant frequency fields of the earth will create global changes. Presently, the drift of the location of the north and south poles is moving significantly faster than has ever been previously monitored.
Los terremotos se harán más frecuentes y aumentarán en intensidad. La propia polaridad del campo geomagnético y los campos de resonancia de frecuencia de la Tierra crearán cambios globales. Actualmente, el cambio en la ubicación de los polos norte y sur está ocurriendo mucho más rápido de lo que nunca antes se ha detectado.
So, is this interesting? Shall we keep going? We're about half done of these excerpts. It's actually much longer, and I can give you the links. And I think I've sent most of you the links to it all, so you can read this yourself. But if you'd like us to carry on, we'd like to.
It's not that much more, and I personally think it's really powerful.
I'm finding it very interesting.
Yeah.
Okay.
¿En español?
Si quieren podemos seguir leyendo el texto. Hay todavía como la mitad que queda, pero ustedes tienen la información, los links para ir en páginas web, para buscar la información sí mismo y leerla. Pero podemos seguir o podemos hacer como un resumen o lo leen de sí mismo en la casa. ¿Qué quieren?
Sí, they want us to go on.
Sí.
Bueno.
Okay,
Okay.
And let me remind you of what Dr. Calleman said on this very subject. Earthquakes will become more frequent and increase in intensity. That huge earthquake in Japan, just as one example of what he said, that is here in the Hopi prophecy, from 2 cultures so far apart.
Y como dijo Dr. Calleman, ¿se recuerdan cómo habló de un terremoto enorme en Japón? Pues es la misma idea aquí. Hablan de terremotos que van a aumentar en frecuencia, pues es lo mismo. en dos mundos separados, en dos tiempos separados, pues están hablando de la misma cosa.
Continuing then, politically human behavior by its very nature is demanding change. Are we seeing that? The old order principles by which we govern and are governed must be changed. Our economics is based upon exploitation ever since the Industrial Revolution. As our resources dwindle and populations increase, such antiquated principles as profit, private property, possessiveness, and competition must be replaced with their opposites.
Políticamente, el comportamiento humano, por su propia naturaleza, está exigiendo cambios. Y bueno, lo estamos viendo al momento. Por ejemplo, los principios del viejo orden mediante los cuales gobernamos y somos gobernados deben cambiar. Nuestras economías están basadas en la explotación desde la revolución industrial. A medida que nuestros recursos disminuyen y las poblaciones aumentan, tales principios anticuados como ganancias, propiedad privada, posesión y competencia deben ser reemplazados por sus opuestos.
The prophecy urges us, here's the instructions, to gather ourselves and be good to each other. They warn that the time of the lone wolf is over. Our common problems have foreshadowed our common differences. We can only survive if we cooperate in achieving common goals.
Y aquí son las instrucciones. La profecía nos insta a unirnos y ser bondadosos los unos con los otros. Nos advierte que ha llegado el fin de los tiempos de los lobos solitarios. Nuestros problemas en común han presagiado nuestras diferencias en común. Solo podemos sobrevivir si cooperamos en la búsqueda de objetivos en común.
On a spiritual, cultural level, we must abandon all belief systems that maintain exclusivity. Religious chauvinism is the present excuse for waging war. Ideologies such as democracy, oligarchy, pragmatism, socialism, etc., all reflect the antiquated forms devised to uphold the old principles of the fourth world. Sectarian principles of governance and religious dogma must be replaced with a global, holistic approach to preservation of the environment.
A un nivel espiritual, cultural, debemos abandonar todos los sistemas de creencias que mantienen exclusividad. Religiones patriarcales son la excusa actual para la guerra. Ideologías tales como la democracia, oligarquía, pragmatismo, socialismo, etc., son todas formas anticuadas diseñadas para apoyar los viejos principios del cuarto mundo. Principios de gobierno sectorial y dogmas religiosos deben reemplazar con un enfoque holístico global para la preservación del medio ambiente.
And I am studying the Zapatista movement and what is emerging from Chiapas recently, and it is exactly the same message, as far as I can tell. It's quite remarkable.
Andrew está estudiando la filosofía de los zapatistas, es lo que está pasando acá en Chiapas y la misma idea. Es igual.
Perdón, ¿la misma idea de cuál?
Oh, it's the same idea as...
The what?
It's the same idea exactly as what? The Zapatistas is like the...
This last paragraph that Connie read is so central to what is emerging from these huge meetings that were happening here in the 90s where the indigenous people rose up and there was war and there was killing and death and it was really, really tough. But the people came together and said these very same words, these same principles, they put them forward. And that's what's something very important is coming from Chiapas.
En los 90s hubieron guerras, hubieron tiempos duros acá, pues con los zapatistas y lo que ocurrió políticamente, pero la misma idea que el párrafo que acaba de leer Connie y yo, es este tipo de idea que está ocurriendo al momento.
It's boots on the ground. People are implementing here in Chiapas, they're implementing these principles.
Sí, Chiapas ya están aplicando esta filosofía.
The purpose of life is to develop mind so that it will lead us out of the collectively generated illusion known as Maya and enter the expanded state of mind known as enlightenment. Since everyone has the same opportunity and ability to reach this highest state of universal wisdom and compassion are generated and re-established with every successive generation. See, there's a typo there. Yeah.
El propósito de la vida es desarrollar la mente para que pueda sacarnos de la ilusión colectivamente generada conocida como Maya, para entrar al estado expandido de la mente conocido como iluminación, ya que todo el mundo cuenta con la misma oportunidad y capacidad de alcanzar este estado más elevado. Con cada generación se genera y reestablece sabiduría y compasión universal.
Resolution of this polarity is the most challenging and necessary function of our evolutionary destiny. We must become one family, not next-door neighbors, one family. According to the prophecy, the third great shaking creates the opportunity for such resolution.
La resolución de esta polaridad es el aspecto más desafiante de nuestro destino evolutivo. Tenemos que convertirnos en una familia, pero no vecinos, familia. Según la profecía, el tercer gran temblor crea la oportunidad para tal resolución.
See, all these crises are forcing us to become one. As Mother Nature just shakes us up and destroys what we have, we can no longer be islands separate from each other.
Todos estos eventos de crisis que ocurren todo el tiempo, todos estos temblores, hacen que debemos trabajar juntos para resolverlos. No podemos seguir separados como si estuviéramos todos en islas separadas. Tenemos que construir puentes.
The consequences of choosing to remain with our mother will be an ever-growing connection with all biological life forms. We will become true Terrans. Our newly awakened sense of oneness will evolve our deeper communication abilities and endow our relationships with ever more satisfying results. As the Hopi elders said, we are the ones we have been waiting for.
La consecuencia de escoger entre permanecer con nuestra madre tierra será el logro de una creciente conexión con todas las formas de vida biológicas. Nos convertiremos en verdaderos terrícolas. Nuestro recién despertado sentido de unidad evolucionará nuestra capacidad de comunicación profunda y hará que nuestras relaciones nos rindan resultados cada vez más satisfactorios. Tal como dicen los ancestros Hopi, somos los que hemos estado esperando.
In conclusion, we are now being humbled to see that all our technology and our culture of science have led us into a belief that this sacrosanct culture possesses empirical knowledge of the world and its systems. Yet, upon reflection, we know that the generation of this knowledge was assembled by many generations of individuals who pursued the truth with little or no accountability to the perceptions of our pre-scientific ancestor cultures. This realization now could save us. The only stewards of this earth with a track record of sustainability and harmony for thousands of years are these very ancestor cultures. The Hopis warn that annihilation of the remnants of those cultures will definitely eliminate human participation in the fifth world.
Por último, ahora nos estamos viendo humillados al ver que toda nuestra tecnología y cultura científica nos ha llevado a creer que esta cultura sacrosanta posee conocimiento empírico del mundo y sus sistemas. Sin embargo, ante mayor reflexión, sabemos que la generación de este conocimiento ha sido el resultado de muchas generaciones de individuos que han ido en busca de la verdad sin tomar en cuenta las recepciones de las antiguas culturas precientíficas. Esta realización ahora podría ser lo que nos salve. Los únicos custodios de esta tierra con una trayectoria de sostenibilidad y miles de años de armonía son estas culturas ancestrales. Los Hopi advierten que el exterminio de lo que queda de esas culturas nos hará más que eliminar definitivamente la participación humana en el quinto mundo.
This crisis is demanding that we employ a previously overlooked faculty of human nature, namely our divinity. This faculty has always been active but almost completely ignored in this last century. It is through the filter of our hearts and emotions that we can reawaken this reliable source of truth. This is a personal process and not an institutional one. The reason that religions have so much influence over our psyches is that we have sold our hearts and our personal communion with Great Spirit to what the Hopi call the high priests of the two-hearteds. Those would be the institutions of science and religion.
Esta crisis exige que nos valgamos de una facultad humana previamente ignorada, que es nuestra divinidad. Esta facultad siempre ha estado activa, pero casi completamente ignorada durante este último siglo. Es a través del filtro de nuestros corazones y emociones que podemos reconectar con esta confiable fuente de la verdad. Esto es un proceso personal, no uno institucional. La razón por la cual las religiones han podido ejercer tanta influencia sobre nuestra psiquis es porque hemos vendido nuestros corazones, nuestra comunión personal con el Gran Espíritu, que los Hopi llaman el Gran Sacerdote de los que tienen dos corazones. Eso se refiere a las instituciones de ciencia y de religión.
To bring it right back around to the Hopi prophecy and the message carved on the rock, he's talking about Grandfather David, this wonderful Hopi elder who...
And I knew his family. I never knew him, but I was connected with his family in Hopi land, or am connected.
Would you like to?
Este último párrafo se refiere otra vez a la profecía Hopi y a lo que dijo el abuelo David. Connie conoce la familia de este señor, no el señor como tal, pero todavía tiene conexiones con él.
And my album, family album, my Hopi album, is this family.
David,
Photos
Grandfather David.
Grandfather, and there's actually a picture of Grandfather David in the back.
In the gallery back.
In my album.
En la galería hay fotos de esa familia. No de la, bueno, hay una del abuelo como tal, pero la mayoría son de la familia.
Bueno. Grandfather explained to me, when Creator created the world, he gave each life form a way to be in harmony with all other forms. When humans were created, we too were given a way. That way is known as the true path of life. By returning to the adherence to natural law, we will return to that path, our birthright.
El abuelo me explicó que cuando el Creador creó el mundo, otorgó a cada forma de vida una manera para vivir en armonía con todas las otras formas. Cuando los humanos fueron creados, a nosotros también se nos hizo entrega de una manera. Esa manera es lo que se conoce como el verdadero camino de la vida. Al regresar a adherirnos a la ley natural, regresaremos a ese camino. Ese es nuestro derecho de nacimiento.
Amen.
Amen. And what we say, there's a party going on, we're all invited, we just don't know how to get there. We lost the directions of how to get there.
Como decimos, hay una gran fiesta al momento. Todos son invitados, pero no sabemos cómo llegar. Es nuestro derecho de lograr llegar a esta fiesta.
Yeah, our birthright. It is our true nature. It's the true nature of the universe. And we just have to reconnect through trusting our own intuition. And what we give tools for understanding the nature of the universe. See, what they're saying here is that we don't understand natural law, universal law. We don't understand it. We're out of sync with it because we don't understand it.
Es algo que tenemos como derecho cuando nacemos. El derecho de conectar con esta ley natural. Pero, bueno, en el libro que han escrito con ello, hay esas herramientas para saber cómo conectarse otra vez. Y es algo que necesitamos entender. La ley universal.
See,
So I'll say one more thing and then I'll be done. Is that okay?
sure.
So, a really important thing that we just heard is this: for the last 100 years, maybe more, we have lost touch with our divinity. We have forgotten that we are completely a part of the divine. Because in fact, it's impossible to be anywhere else. What is the divine? It is the universe, right? It is love. It's like our mother. We're in the womb of a mother and we can't go anywhere else because there isn't anywhere else.
Tenemos que recordarnos algo importante, es que estamos conectados con esa divinidad. Lo hemos olvidado hace como 100 años alrededor de eso, que hemos perdido un poco esa conexión. Todavía está, pero tenemos que reunificarnos con ella, porque la Tierra es nuestra madre, es el universo. No podemos salir de allá, es como el bebé todavía creciendo en el vientre de la mamá. No puede sacar, es lo mismo con nosotros en esa tierra y debemos aprender a reconectarnos con ella.
In el universo, not just the earth.
Con el universo, sí, completamente. No solamente la tierra como tal, pero todo el universo.
See, and what we're bringing that's unique, and we'd like to give you this information, is that the different frequencies, everyone's been speaking about frequencies, or at least Carl did, the different frequencies have different laws. Okay? So if we go into a higher frequency, the laws that apply to us are different than the laws that apply to someone in a lower frequency, on an individual basis.
No olviden que hay diferentes niveles de lo que hablamos desde el principio de esas frecuencias. Hay niveles diferentes y no olviden que cada nivel tiene sus leyes. Entonces, cada vez que alguien sube en otra frecuencia, hay diferentes leyes, pero las leyes son diferentes para las personas que no han llegado todavía, que están debajo. No olviden eso.
And we're giving a workshop on the 28th of April at Casa del Pan, all day to to learn about these 10 assumptions for a new paradigm, which we give a new understanding of the nature of the universe, and we'll be teaching that on April 28th.
Y no olviden, el 28 de abril hay un taller que habla de eso, de 10, how do you say that in Spanish?
10 assumptions for a new paradigm.
Yeah,
10 creencias para un nuevo paradigma.
ok, las 10 creencias para un nuevo paradigma se llama el taller, y es en el restaurante La Casa del Pan el 28 de abril.
And screening the complete film as well at night, on Friday night and Saturday night, the whole film, and then during the day on Saturday, having this deep discussion.
Van a ver la película el viernes o el sábado por la noche, y durante el día de sábado hablan de los temas de la película.
No.
No?
The trust frequency will come. It's a workshop on the book.
Oh, el taller es sobre el libro, pero las películas
Es de nosotros también, pero es...
okay, es otra cosa, perdón. La película pueden ver también, pero el taller es algo diferente.
And if
La
you come
frecuencia de la confianza.
If you come to the workshop, the film is free. You can come for free on Friday night and Saturday night.
Los que vienen al taller pueden ver la película gratis, viernes o sábado.
Sí.
So I want to finish by saying that obviously we've opened up a very big subject here. This subject is absolutely huge. And all we've really talked about is the indigenous vision, right? And the reason, yes, go ahead.
Eso es un tema muy largo, hay mucha información, y hemos hablado esta noche solamente de una parte, de las creencias aborígenas solamente, pero hay mucho más que discutir sobre ese tema.
See, so this applies not just to the Maya, not just to the Hopi, not just to the Lacandonas, the local people here, to all of the ancient people of the world. They have been here how long? How long have humans been on this planet? Such a long time. Not 4,000 years, maybe 200,000 years.
Y eso es algo que no solamente los Hopis y los mayas o los de aquí discuten o hablan. Hay muchos más otros pueblos a través del mundo que hablan del mismo tema. Hay humanos hace mucho tiempo sobre la Tierra, y son los humanos antiguos que hablan de eso. Imagínense que no hace solamente 4.000 años que estamos aquí, hace como 200.000 años que hay humanos sobre la Tierra.
And white Western people like me, I'm a scientist. I used to be a chemistry professor at university. To bring it all together, to understand, to remember what the ancient ones knew, to see if we can still find that very important information and integrate it with everything that we have brought from the what shall we call it, the Western world. We have contributed so much in science, in medicine, and so, and wisdom is not only with the indigenas. Wisdom is with the human spirit. It's a possession of all of us. And to bring it back so that we can rise to a higher place.
And bring it together to create something new.
Andrew es profe de ciencias, de química, en la universidad.
Where?
Did you say where?
In South Africa, where I grew up.
En Sudáfrica. Y pues tiene los conocimientos del mundo occidental, y está buscando a encontrar la información de los pueblos antiguos y recorrer todo eso para hacer como una gran idea con todo eso, para recoger todo y hacer como una parte de información que todos pueden utilizar. Y se puede con eso crear una nueva idea. Todo lo de los mundos antiguos y lo del mundo nuevo, conciencias también. hacer que los dos mundos se unen y hacer una nueva filosofía.
Sí. Okay. Any questions?
¿Preguntas?
A lot of questions?
Yes.
If we are raising up in these frequencies, that means higher is the frequency, closer we are to conscious of unity, right? Does that mean that I will also be able to feel the pain, let's say, of other people, or the pain of the water, or of the nature?
I think so.
Well,
La pregunta es, pues, si estamos subiendo de frecuencia, eso significa que a un momento vamos a sentir el dolor de los otros, por ejemplo, como el dolor de otras personas o del agua, por ejemplo.
probably, but also feel the joy. And one of the elders I was with, we were driving along and he said, "Do you hear it? Do you hear the trees singing?"
Puede ser, y también si sienten el dolor, eso significa que también pueden sentir felicidad. Como por ejemplo cuando estaba Connie estaba conduciendo con un anciano, él dijo, ¿escuchas el ruido? Es una canción, la canción de los árboles.
And I think when we're in that higher vibration, we will feel the pain in compassion with everyone, but it won't be a terrible thing. It makes me think of giving birth to a baby. How painful is it to give birth to a baby, and what an ecstatic experience. I am the father of 5 children who I was the midwife. I brought my own babies into the world with my wife. And she just was, it was the most beautiful thing.
Pero ese dolor no va a ser tan terrible. No olviden que cuando sientes el dolor de otros, pero con un nivel de compasión, puede ser algo bueno también, como dar la luz. Es muy doloroso, claro, pero qué éxtasis de ver el bebé después, ¿no? Andrew es papá de 5 niños y él los tuvo, la mujer sabia quien ayuda, como pues mujer sabia, bueno, la sabia que está ayudando a dar la luz a su mujer, y se sentía pues muy feliz de hacer eso.
And it's free will, where we choose to put our attention, and that applies right now to where we put our attention. What frequency we're in is determined by where we put our attention. So we have the free will to put our attention wherever we want it, wherever we choose, thereby determining our frequency. So I'm sure when we're in this expanded state, we will have the choice still to experience the pain, experience the joy, whatever our soul needs or chooses for its journey, which applies right now, will carry on. Because to us, it's all love. It all serves our journey to wholeness. There's only love in the whole universe. That's another unique thing we're bringing to help us understand how everything, even everything we see as not love, is in fact love. There's all there is.
No olviden que siempre podemos escoger, siempre podemos decidir si queremos sentir el dolor de los demás o la felicidad de los demás. Depende del nivel de frecuencia donde nos encontramos. Podemos decir dónde vamos, dónde nos ponemos. Y todo es amor. No olviden que todo el universo es amor, y significa que aunque parece como si no hay amor, todo sí sigue siendo amor. Eso es algo que tenemos que recordarnos cuando estamos viviendo eso y cuando estamos escogiendo dónde vamos.
So we are giving birth to ourselves. As the Hopis say, we are the ones we have been waiting for, right? I wait 9 months for my baby. Hello, baby. I wait a whole life for Andrew. Hello, Andrew. We are
Many lives.
We are giving
Lifetimes.
birth to ourselves, and we are giving birth, in fact, collectively to a new humanity. It is like the kundalini of the entire species can now rise, and we can just be here instead of here. When we're down here in fear, we have this crazy world we've created. When we're here, it's like exactly like being in love, where everything is wonderful, magical, and we can live that way. As he said at the Prophecy Rock, we can have a paradise in this life. So there.
What did you say first?
The first thing you said. Bueno, cuando estamos mirando un bebé, bueno, esperamos un bebé 9 meses y damos a luz y decimos, hola bebé. Pues cuando estamos tratando de trabajar sobre nosotros, lo hacemos por toda la vida y nos damos la luz a nosotros mismos. Es un trabajo por toda la vida y como Connie ha añadido, pues hay también otras vidas porque volvemos a vivir reencarnaciones. Hay un nivel de kundalini que podemos alcanzar, que es un nivel alto. Al nivel bajo, si nos quedamos aquí, pues nos sentimos todo el amor. El amor está aquí arriba, al nivel más alto. Y si logramos llegar allá, pues es muy hermoso.
Está bien. Okay. So, another question? Or thought. You don't have to have a question.
Yeah.
¿Comentarios? ¿Preguntas o comentarios?
An experience to share? Once we had, I will tell you one story. We teach workshops with this work, the trust frequency. And a young man came in, he's from Pakistan. His family's from Pakistan. When he was young, he had a spiritual experience that was completely amazing. But he could not tell his people because you know what happens if you're in Pakistan and you have an experience that's different from anyone else. It's actually dangerous. For the first time in this workshop, he said, I've never told this to anyone. He told this amazing experience he had of oneness, of unity. So.
Hay un muchacho quien vino a uno de esos talleres que tratan del libro. Y este muchacho es de Pakistán. Y vino pues él solo, su familia está en Pakistán y ha explicado una experiencia que es muy única para él. Lo que pasa si trata de explicar eso en su propio país es que puede ser peligroso. Si eres una persona diferente de los demás, puede ser muy peligroso. Entonces, era la primera vez que ha explicado esta experiencia. Tuvo una experiencia de unicidad por la primera vez de su vida y querría hablar de eso. Entonces, si ustedes tienen algo, aquí es el lugar donde no van a parecer raro.
You already are a little bit weird.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Yeah.
my question in that sense would be, how is it for you? Like, if you say in your books, no, theoretically, that everything is love, do you only experience love? Are you in that frequency yet? Like, have you explored it as a personal experience? Can you say this is part of, not only something I think of, ideally I would also love that everything, felt and I was in complete awareness and as you said, but have you experienced it like that? Is that divine experience of unity yours? ¿Sí?
La pregunta es, bueno, tú hablas de este tipo de experiencia de vivir el amor y de sentir todo como el amor. Entonces, es algo que tú alcanzaste. Puedes decir que tú vives así, que sientes amor por todas partes.
Yes, and for me, because of my perspective, from this perspective, to know that everything that happens to me happens for me, I know that, and I live that. And our life is somewhat miraculous. Just being here now, as artists in residence for 2 months.